know what it reminded me of? Have you
What?
ever seen videos of um, Hitler's program for women pumping out babies because they wanted just tons of Aryan children?
Yes.
It's the same kind of thing.
I'm Stephanie Keith.
And I am Tara Manjekovic, and we are unapologetically outspoken.
Hey everyone, welcome to Weird Wednesday. Today we have a special treat in store for you because we are giving you access to one of our Patreon episodes. So we publish new Patreon videos weekly on a variety of wild topics going on in the world. So we're going to give you a little sneak peek of what that's all about today. And if you want to join our Patreon, you can go to the link in the show notes. When you sign up, you get access to Patreon. You can leave comments on topics that you want. You can ask us questions, you can interact, and you get one of our free stickers. So head to the show notes if you'd like to join, and let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about something really crazy, which is the underground baby business in Ukraine. And it's kind of a tough one because it has to do with like surrogacy or the rent-a-womb industry, as some call it. And it's long been rumored that Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world and also a huge hub for human trafficking. And I believe that the two are linked through this Ukrainian surrogacy company called Biotexcom. So I read a special edition in Politico by Isla Gridneff, Emily Schultes, and Demetrio Drabek. I have no idea if I said their names right. But I'm just going to start reading some of this article to paint the picture of some of the things that are very wrong about this process. All right. So, quote, when Tanya, a 45-year-old woman living in Los Angeles, paid $10,000 and sent 2 embryos to a surrogacy firm in Ukraine, hoping to build a family 6 years ago, she says she never expected the uncertainty and heartbreak the process would bring. Tanya desperately wanted a child, but found out that she would be unable to conceive herself. After discovering how expensive surrogacy is in the US, she and her husband began pursuing options abroad and came across the Kiev-based company Biotexcom. Tanya's parents were originally from Odessa, so she felt like there was something fitting about her future child being born in Ukraine. And once the process began with Biotexcom in the fall of 2017, Tanya had an uneasy feeling. After sending her embryos, she said she was told they would be implanted in a surrogate almost immediately. And that was a timeline that didn't fit well at all with her research. So a few days later, the firm told her the embryo transfer had been unsuccessful and provided minimal information about why. And she said she suspected that something was off. Her husband was in Kiev for work a few weeks later and decided that he would stop by the clinic to see if he could get some answers. So he introduced himself to the clinic staffer, who immediately thanked him for donating their embryos to another couple. He was floored, obviously. And was this what happened when the firm told them that it was unsuccessful? Were they really just donating to someone else? So she says, obviously, that's when, crap hit the fan. And Biotexcom stopped answering her messages and she never received her embryos back. So Tara, I don't know if I'm jaded from this podcast or what, but I instantly thought that this is part of some sick child trafficking scheme where they probably have women who are either like sex slaves or just super poor and need the money. So they get into this surrogate program. And since they're stealing embryos from someone else, they don't have ties to these babies. And then these babies are sold into child trafficking. I know how fucking dark that sounds, but with all we've learned lately about child trafficking, I think there's a connection.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't doubt it.
So Albert, I have no idea how to say this name, Takilovsky, the founder of Biotexcom, was placed under house arrest in 2018 and 2019 for possible child trafficking cases. But then the charges just completely dropped. They didn't say why. It all just disappeared. And
it was probably with Hunter Biden's money.
Totally. Of course. Why not? And it turns out that there are multiple complaints from other couples saying that their embryos were never returned. There was even a couple from Germany that said Biotexcom mixed up their surrogate twins with another couple's pair, forcing them to exchange the babies at a secret rendezvous in Germany, as well as numerous complaints from the women who were the surrogates who said that they didn't receive proper care or expenses for medical complications. And they all say the same thing, that due to the chaotic legal system in Ukraine, they get nowhere. Like, no one will return their calls, no one will help them, and they just can't seem to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, you know how when you look up a company online and then you can see reviews from things like Trustpilot? So I
Yeah.
looked at this company on Trustpilot and I want to read this review because the woman said, quote, "We tried Biotexcom and it was a total disaster. They lost track of one of our cryo-shipped embryos, which stayed unclaimed without monitoring for an unknown amount of time. We were not allowed to see or communicate with the surrogate at all. This clinic blindly chose someone from what I experienced. The second cryo-shipped embryo was supposedly received, and within 10 days, the transfer was done, obviously with a huge fail. The medical calendar/protocol and medication take at least 21 days after monitoring menses cycles for 2 months and 14 days to secure pre-blood transfer and urine analysis. We lost both of our beautiful PGS, PGD tested embryos with this clinic. Very shady, highly unethical, and will take your money and send to an overseas bank. Stay away from Biotexcom. Way more stuff happened too. They may seem cheaper as they have a $1 million marketing budget, but only 12% of all foreign couples will ever see a live and healthy baby delivered with Biotexcom."
That is so sad. Like, I would be gut wrenched if I sent an embryo and then found out like it was given to another couple and like my child is somewhere out there and like who knows what's happening to, like, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not really a surprise, as once again Ukraine is known for corruption and trafficking. And the founder of this company was also under suspicion of tax evasion and money laundering. And you know what a great way to launder money is? A war.
War.
I mean, makes me think some of the $120 billion that Biden sent, could that be going to the human trafficking effort? I don't know. But in 2016, the Swiss NGO International Social Service estimated that 20,000 babies annually were born via surrogacy. And it's been promoted by celebrities like Kim Kardashian, Elton John, and Paris Hilton, who are all have ties to things like Balenciaga, like, just saying. And this reproductive process was worth an estimated $14 billion just in 2022 alone. And they think that it's going to reach $129 billion by 2032, according to this research and consulting company, Global Market Insights. So, like, again, why would you even think to go to Ukraine for a surrogate? Well, because it's around $40,000 versus $100,000 in the US. And it's estimated that there are 2,000 to 2,500 surrogacies in Ukraine each year.
Yeah,
It's a
and on
lot.
top of that, there's like very few regulations. Americans don't need a visa to go to Ukraine. This company allows for gender selection, and then once they have a contract in place, the surrogate mother has no rights to the baby after delivery. So it's very different than things here are in the US. And I read Biotexcom's very fascinatingly worded website, and I want to read this part of the website because as much as it makes me laugh, it's not funny, but I found it very interesting. Quote, "Due to the bans in most European countries, it is very difficult to find European type egg donor who will meet all your requirements and expectation. Biotexcom is the country where you can find needed egg donor, as about 95% of Ukrainian population is European light skin type. Slavic ladies are famous for their beautiful, slim complexion, smartness, and you will be able to find your egg donor in our base. Generally, patients prefer to choose a good-looking and intelligent egg donor with strong and healthy family roots to ensure good genes for the future baby."
Little racist? My
Just a
God.
little. Just a little.
Jeez. Yeah, this story is crazy, and it really raises some eyebrows when we get into the war and how this company has baby bunkers underground. So they say that, they want to keep the surrogates and the babies safe from any bombing, but there was a video of them showing this like elaborate underground system where apparently they're like keeping these surrogates. And I'm like, are they like held down there? Like, are they allowed to leave? Are they down there for the whole entire time they're pregnant? Are they doing the surgeries down there? Like, it was really creepy.
You know what it reminded me of? Have you
What?
ever seen videos of like um Hitler's program for women pumping out babies because they wanted just tons of Aryan children?
Yes.
It's the same kind of thing.
Yep. It absolutely is.
It
And
literally just reminded me of that.
I mean, and this is going down the conspiracy rabbit hole a bit too, but there's so many rumors and eyewitness accounts of these underground tunnels in the US that are used for child trafficking. And so again, like that makes me wonder about the 85,000 plus children missing, the migrant children. But here they've got these bunkers underground in Ukraine. And oh, how convenient. Like, well, we have to put them down there. We have to keep them safe because it's wartime. And the whole thing just seemed very sketch and terrifying. Like, I can't imagine being one of these surrogate women and then you're ushered down into this underground tunnel system. And like, I don't know, it just seemed so shady. And looking at all the reviews and all these accounts of the horrific things that happen with this company, again, it makes me not only question this company, but again, it makes me question Ukraine, their government, our government's involvement, Hunter Biden, like
Yeah.
all of it. It's really shady. And so I kind of want to keep an eye on this and see if any other stories pop up, because again, I think it's like connected to this human trafficking. And I would not be surprised if we start seeing more evidence come forward of this. So we'll
Yeah.
keep everyone posted. But all right, that's our episode for this week. We'll have another good one for you next week. So stay tuned. Comment below if there's anything else that you want us to cover. We would love to hear your suggestions. And thanks for tuning in. If you're sick of all the crazy shit going on in our country and you want to express your support and patriotism for the show, head on over to our Etsy store at UO Patriot Chicks and check out our new stickers. The link can also be found on our website. If you love the show and you want exclusive episodes, support the podcast and join the conversation by becoming a member of our Patreon community. We'll be posting weekly member-only podcast episodes and content that isn't available on the weekly podcast. Every Patreon member will also get a free Unapologetically Outspoken sticker and updates about our new sticker release before they're made public. And be sure to follow us on TikTok at Unapologetically Outspoken. And if you haven't done so already, please rate and review the podcast. The more you support us, the more people we can reach. So help us spread the word.